once lived a fairy who lived in the forest, and this forest was very busy. It once was a forest full of fairies that loved to nourish the forest and nourish each other. But some evil spell was placed on this forest that made the fairies not so happy with each other, and not so happy with taking care of the forest. Oftentimes you would see little pieces of rubbish sparkled on the forest floor, pieces of mushroom ripped off without even asking the mushroom if it was okay. Sometimes even seeing fairies fight with each other over berries. No one really worked together here. No one loved each other as much as the little fairy thought they should. And the little fairy felt like all the time her thoughts were full. She would see the fairies working, creating, making, doing, trying to make beautiful things for themselves so that they could have new beautiful things to put in their homes. But no one thought of each other. No one thought of the forest. And the little fairy felt like, why am I living in this forest when no one cares? Why am I living in this place that makes me think so much? It makes me feel so disconnected. Why am I here? The fairy would try to find spaces that were quiet, so then she could let go of her thoughts a bit. But every place in this forest floor was filled with fairies. She had nowhere to go that would be quiet. She would try going to the edge of the fairy forest to sit and watch the sunrise. But once she would sit down, she would hear someone coming up next to her and saying, "Hey, what are you doing here? You can't be here. You gotta go." And the fairy would have to run away to try to find another place to watch the sunset. The fairy would visit the creek often to dip her toes inside. And sometimes she really just wanted to be alone in that creek. But every single day there was always more fairies there, dipping their feet in the creek. She never felt alone. She never could get away from this energy, the spell that was put on this place, that didn't feel good to her. She wondered how she could leave, where she would go, if she's supposed to leave. Why is she even here? She didn't know. It was coming up to the fall equinox, a time that the little fairy loved, because it was a time for her to let herself ground. And she was hoping that this fall equinox she could take some time for herself. So she grabbed her candles, her little crystals, her moss, her soup, and a blanket, and set off to a new space, a space that she thought would be quiet. So she walked and she flew, and she walked and she flew to a space that was so far away from her city home. She set up her blanket, laid it down, lit her candles, and put her beautiful crystals down on her blanket. And she thought this was it. This would be her moment to quiet her thoughts and come back to herself. She looked around. She didn't see any other fairies, and she felt excited. The first time being alone in so long. What am I going to do with myself? How am I going to take care of myself now? So she sat her wings came to a close. Her eyes slowly fell closed as well. And she started to breathe. With each inhale, she was like, "Ooh, yes, finally." And with each exhale, she was left confused. I thought my thoughts would be gone by now. I'm sitting, I'm quiet, there's no one around me. I can finally let go of the energy of my city. But the fairy couldn't. Her thoughts would keep coming back. "Oh, you gotta get this done. Don't forget about that. I wonder where you left that jean jacket that you loved. I wonder where you put that moss that was supposed to be sent to the babies. Why? Where did you put that? Your mom's gonna get mad at you if you can't find it." Oh, she really wanted these thoughts to be gone. She was so used to just saying, "I want this," and receiving it. So why wasn't she getting it now? She looked up and she saw that the moon was bright. This fall equinox was bringing some really nourishing energy into the fairy. And she asked the wise moon, "Moon, can you take my thoughts away? I really want quiet right now. I journeyed all the way out here to get quiet, but I'm still having thoughts. Can you please take these away so I can enjoy my time and connect with the nature and connect with the forest that keeps wanting to play with me?" But the moon laughed. "I can't do that. What you're trying to do is something only you can figure out. And it'll take time. This journey to let go of your thoughts takes time and work and energy. And for you to be able to heal yourself and nourish yourself, you need to devote time to yourself, to be alone, to be here with me, and to find quiet within. But can you just please take this away? Like, I just don't want to be thinking right now." The moon looked down at her again and said, "I am sorry. Keep coming back to me every night, and we will work together to allow your brain to let go of your thoughts so you can feel into what the forest is trying to tell you." So the fairy took a deep breath, feeling a little frustration, but understanding that it's okay. She has to take time and make time for herself in order to let go of her thoughts. So she looked down at her creations, her candles that were going, her lovely crystals, her moss, and smiled. "So the way that I nourish my body is by taking care of myself. The way I let go of my thoughts is by taking care of myself." She looked up at the moon one last time and asked, "How can I start letting the evil spirit that my city is under out, so we can love it and nurture for the forest and nurture each other and love each other?" And the moon said, "This too takes time. You making space for yourself and caring for yourself and loving yourself and nurturing yourself will help your community see how much they also love and want to nurture themselves. The only way to change an evil spirit is by finding love and sending love and creating love and loving love. So take your time, hold your space, and continue devoting the time for yourself. The fairy gathered their things and set back to their forest home with a new perspective, a devotion to self, something that she didn't think she ever wanted or needed, but understood from the moon. I hope you enjoyed that story. I oftentimes feel lost in my thoughts, and I'm learning that in order for me to get out of my thoughts, I have to nourish my body. Sending you all light, and I hope you enjoy the fall equinox tonight. Bye.